Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito in studio alongside Kevin Coleman, and our director as always is Eric Gendron. We are back in studio after being off yesterday. We had to be at Stanford High for 4 o'clock. We did a little bit of a pregame show from down there, but we saw a great baseball game yesterday, Kevin.
We did. Talk about a great pitcher's duel between two fantastic arms. Beldotti we saw last Monday at home against Darien. I thought he pitched well the first 3 innings, then struggled throughout the rest of his start. Of course, that middle of the lineup with Darien, forced him out of the game. But he really came back with vengeance here on a great game, coming back a week later at home on Monday against a very good and kind of a blue-collared team of Danbury. Did a great job, went the distance. I thought he pitched wonderful. Only 3 strikeouts, but again, I thought he was dominant, went after each hitter and trusts his defense, which I think at this level you have to do as a pitcher.
And Eric, it was a huge win for Stanford when you look at the standings because they sat tied for 11th in the conference entering yesterday's game. They're now tied for 8th. They don't have the tiebreaker advantage over Ludlow, but really control their own fate down the stretch when you look at the Black Knights schedule.
Yeah, this game and pretty much every game moving forward is, really about jockeying for those positions for these two teams. And really, we went into this one knowing that the winner of this one was going to be in much better shape for the playoffs, come the end of May. And, they have a great tiebreaker advantage over Danbury now, and it gives them a little bit of momentum heading into a tough rest of the week with another, they have a really big game against Staples now, the Stanford does, and a crucial game against Ward, another one of those 8-seed contenders on Friday.
Of Stanford's remaining schedule, 4 of those games are against teams currently in the top 8, but we'll have more on that game for you in the B block part of the show. We do want to mention our Week 2 winners for Athlete of the Week in the spring season. Congratulations to Blake Newcomer of the West Hill baseball squad and Tori Kuskana of the Stanford softball team. They were your Week 2 winners. Quickly going through our Week 3 nominees, which were announced yesterday on Coffee Break. For the males, we will see Chad Knight, John Thrasher, Ben Farrow representing baseball, Tim Herget of the Darien volleyball squad, and Gareth Gassetta from the Fairfield Ward lacrosse team. Of course, we got to see Tim Herget in action Friday last week, leading that huge comeback victory for the Blue Wave in their championship rematch against the Ridgefield Tigers to remain undefeated. Kev, you had our 5 female nominees for this week. Who were they again?
We had Bridget Charaval from Danbury Girls in Track and Field, Ali Zabo from Trumbull Softball. We also had Carly Bucci from New Canaan Girls Lacrosse. We had Janaya Serrano. I think she's a definite front runner here from Central Softball. She had quite the afternoon against Harding. And then Christina Fiore, I thought she was excellent as well for Darien Girls Lacrosse.
And again, you can vote for all of our nominees at HAN.network. Search for the Athlete of the Week tab underneath our sports category. We mentioned Tim Herget and the Ridgefield and the Darien Blue Wave taking down the Ridgefield Tigers in volleyball. Eric, what were your thoughts on what we saw Friday in a 5-set match of that championship rematch?
I think we got exactly what was billed in that game. It was back and forth that whole time, and that, was peak FCAC volleyball. Those are the 2 best teams in this league, and it was a lot of fun to see, the big names come up big. Ladati, had some great spikes. Tim Herget was really, showing us why he's one of the best, and his little brother was putting up some big points too. And it's unfortunate the match had to end the way it did, kind of, a little anticlimactic with a procedural penalty against Ridgefield ending that match. It would have been very interesting to see them at least get one more match to, tie it up 14-14. But, great fight all around. And we, kind of what we expected right there, tooth and nail, toe-to-toe, both those teams. And we will probably be seeing those 2 teams again facing off come playoff time.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that was something I've been thinking about, honest to God, all weekend was just such a disappointing end to a great match. It was so much fun. And talking about Tim Herget, I tell you what, out of the gym leaps. Ridiculous jumping ability on the young man. It was very, very impressive. I thought the matchup of Ladowdy and Preston lived up to the hype. They battled it out. Always fun to watch Henrik Liapunov step up and play. The energy is just contagious. It brings it into the broadcast, quite frankly, myself. And I thought Josh Verdejo actually had a very good match after being a little suspect against Staples when we saw Ridgefield first this year.
Yeah, I thought Josh did play well, but I think the one thing, again, something that Ridgefield needs to continue to work on is their serves. I mean, that was their Achilles heel again. I mean, luckily they beat Staples, but if you go back to that Staples game we did a few weeks ago, they really struggled from the serving point. Now against Darien, a team that's pretty much equal to them, it's just they both have that tall guy who can be up against the net, really do a nice job of spiking the ball and being a big presence on the court. They're just so similar. They also have Lee Punov and they have Tim Herget. So both sides have that 1-2 punch that really match well together, but it's a serving point from Richfield that, again, killed them again. I thought Miles Peckham was really the only consistent Tiger to serve the ball over from time to time. Ladoudy again struggled, but looked good down the stretch. But again, the Tigers, if there's one thing that they need to work on in order to really beat Darien next time, if there's, I know they're playing each other again at the end of the month, but again, in playoff time, it's the serving point. You got to be better on your serves.
They will play again on Thursday, May 18th. That'll be the final game of the regular season for the Wave. Ridgefield will have one more after that. And then we could possibly see two more matchups in both the FCIAC and the state tournament. That was just one of three huge Darien victories over the weekend. None bigger than the boys lacrosse team's 40th consecutive victory in a matchup featuring the number 1 team in the nation and the number 19 nation. Darien found a way to escape what I thought, Eric, was the best performance we've seen New Canaan give against Darien in a while now. They controlled the pace of play for a while. They had their chances. In the end, McGovern and Lindley up front, too much firepower for the Wave.
I mean, I think we were all pretty surprised. None more than me. I was making some pretty bold statements before the start of that game that Darien was going to run and hide in that game. And I was pretty impressed. New Canaan came at Darien really strongly, and I think this is, it's obviously always tough to lose to your rival, but I think they put some building blocks down that the Rams haven't had in a long time against their rival, the Darien Blue Wave. I think this is really a game you can build off of come playoff time. Really impressive performances, and there isn't really a whole lot that you can point to that you said New Canaan really messed up, and caused Darien to win that game. There's a couple things here and there, but there wasn't like an entire facet of the game that was like, oh man, they really need to work on that. New Canaan was right there with Darien, but Darien's just got so much firepower. But I think if you're the Rams, you can't hang your head too much on this loss because there were some really good things to build on.
No, and New Canaan's got to keep their head up now. They got big games coming up. Ludlow and Ward both lingering in the top 8 for the playoff picture right now. Then they got St. Anthony's, and they'll end the season with Ridgefield. So big game still ahead. New Canaan wants to put themselves in a position where they don't have to face Darien again until the FCX championship, should they get that far. Let's look at the highlights from the Blue Waves' 11-8 win, and we've got more on it after this.
To do already in this game with an early slashing penalty. If they can do that, they should be all right.
As they free holes her up on the right wing, and he gets the bounce shot to go. The Rams strike first. It's 1-0. Working up top, trying to get free. Another shot down low, and it goes. Jack Joyce this time. And 2 quick goals in the Wave on top. Trying to shake free of Fay. Pass out in front. Skip Villanueva. O'Connell the shot, and the sophomore buries it.
Low to high ripper there, Frank.
Opening up top, hesitate, fire, and give it the sign to count it.
Yeah, you just can't give Logan McGovern that much time. He's going to put it in the back of the net.
As it was Brooks Gamble who delivered the big check originally, had it popped away. Now an opportunity, and putting Morris down to his keister was James Solberg, who took the pass and finished on the doorstep. Quickly it is 6-4. Braden trying to dodge as he works in through a sea of black jerseys. Shoots the ball down low, bounces upstairs. We're tied at 6.
Great job splitting the double
this afternoon.
Here's Holzer with it now. Looks to Quentin O'Connell. Tries the low to high again, and he gets it to go.
Great job changing planes there, Frank. Plenty of time.
But he takes the big brunt of it. Lost possession momentarily. It passed down low, and McGovern on the doorstep converts. With 5 seconds to go, that one's going to sting.
Comfortable McGovern at X. Trying to take advantage of a great move there. Drew the flag and finished. And I might use a timeout right now from Coach Chip Buzzio and not let this one get away from me.
40 in a row as the streak is still alive. The final score from Dunning, 11 for the Wave, 8 for New Canaan. 40th consecutive victory for Darien is the longest winning streak in lacrosse by any program in the nation right now. Kev, it was a lot of fun being there on Saturday. There was the great cause, the G-Force game on in support of Graham Harden, who was diagnosed with ALS. He's a former New Canaan High School athlete. So great to see the town rallying around him. It was Youth Day for the girls' game. Just a great day, well put together by New Canaan, well done from start to finish. The Rams on the boys' side, I think they can hang their hat on the effort. They're going to be okay moving forward. The poor girls, though, they're going to be having nightmares for a while about another blown lead late in the game.
It's funny. One of the Darien girls on the team mentioned how, again, New Canaan was right there to win it, and then somehow it just, again, they failed to finish off Darien, their arch rival, again, year after year. So you have to think that it's coming. They have to stay positive because one of these years they're finally going to get Darien. But on the boys' side, it was a great finish from both sides, and I agree with Eric. I think after what we saw in that Staples game last week with New Canaan and Staples, we thought Darien was going to blow them away. But boy, I was so impressed with New Canaan. They really came out and really played a great job. And you got to give credit to both O'Connell boys. I thought they played outstanding, played their hearts out. And Quentin O'Connell really, really shined, I thought, and really showcased his skills on Saturday. Great afternoon, though, and they have to stay positive. That was a great outcome, and congratulations to Darien.
And Eric, a final thought on that girls' game. I think once it got to overtime, what became very apparent was how tentative and almost nervous New Canaan looked in their style of play became, whereas Darien were sharks in the water. They could smell blood, and they were going for that win.
I would go even further. I'd say even the last 5 minutes of that entire game. I mean, New Canaan was in the same position they were in the championship. They had a 3-goal lead. I mean, they just didn't feel comfortable with the lead those last 5 minutes of the game. And as soon as Darien scored to cut it to 2, you can almost feel like it was coming from right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
without a doubt.
It was just the nerves and the tentativeness were there from probably even 5-6 minutes left in that second half. And New Canaan has got to get over that or come from behind. I don't know. Maybe switch it up a little bit.
What was interesting, just to add something real quick, is that I thought in the second, even in the first half, I thought Campbell Armstrong just was blowing by defenders. She kind of was lost, I thought, in the second half. So I wonder where, in the game plan she went, because she was blown by defenders.
I think we can agree that the strategy is there. They went on a 6-0 run at one point in time, 5 unanswered goals to start the second half. They could do no wrong, and Darien looked like they didn't belong on the field with New Canaan. But you're right, Eric, just down the stretch, New Canaan looked as though they didn't understand how to close it out. They got tentative. They were playing not to lose where they needed to go for the jugular. But we'll have plenty more on lacrosse later on. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got baseball to wrap up. The road to Harbor Yard is getting very tight at the top. We've got all that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event, now through April 30th.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com, and like us on Facebook.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
La France de Charles Trenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office.
Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office. I'm John Kova.
Back on the HA Network, we want to remind all of our viewers, if you have ideas for our athletic decathlon between Kevin and myself, we're looking for events to fill up in which we'll be competing against each other. I'm guaranteeing right now Kevin cannot go 10 for 10 on penalty kicks. I'm fairly confident I could also score 10 for 10 times on him on the ice rink. And there is not a chance in the world he can keep up at the free throw line.
Okay, just listen. Maybe not hockey. Okay, I can skate, but I don't know about that. I wasn't a hockey player, but soccer and basketball, you're finished.
You're talking
You're
to
done.
Frankie free throws. Something
You're
else.
talking about Frankie free throws. You're doing grandma style.
Boys.
Oh, here we go.
I got you both schooled in rock, paper, scissors, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a reason you're in that back room right now. One other event that we definitely want to work in there is going to be baseball, and we had great baseball on the air yesterday. Huge bounce back game for Lucas Beldotti, as we talked about. He wasn't shelled necessarily against Darien last week, but he came out and threw a great game yesterday. 7 innings, only 4 walks, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 4 for the complete game win. Brad Papp had 2 singles and a walk, including the game-winning RBI, and Matt Wers had 2 singles and 2 RBIs. Stanford gets the win 3-1. That moves them to 4-5 in the conference. They're now in a 4-place tie for 8th place, along with Ludlow, Trumbull, and Ward. Trumbull's an interesting team too right now, Kevin.
They are. I mean, you talk about these 4 teams: Ludlow, Trumbull, and Ward, and you also have to look down. You also have, fighting for that 8th spot is Danbury, Greenwich, St. Joe's. I mean, those 3 teams in itself. We saw Danbury yesterday. They just got. They went into a hot pitcher yesterday who threw a great game. And this is a Danbury team who really can sneak into the playoffs. Plenty of time here. You see Danbury, Greenwich, St. Joe's. Greenwich also has a pretty strong team that if they can get hot around this time of the year, look out for them. They can sneak in. But those 4 teams you see right there, Ludlow, Stanford, Trumbull, and Ward, those 4 teams I really think can be scary if they get in, especially you look at those 2 ones right there, Stanford and Trumbull. We've seen a lot of them lately. Boy, for the 2 of them to be fighting for an 8th spot just shows you how competitive this FCAC baseball season really is.
And just to keep you up to date here, Ludlow holds the tiebreaker over Stanford, who holds the tiebreaker over Trumbull, has not played Ward yet. Greenwich actually holds the tiebreaker of Stanford should they get up into the mix, but Danbury has an advantage over Greenwich.
There will be a test at the end of
yes,
this.
Eric, have you kept up all this? Let's look at the highlights from yesterday's game, and then we can get into the algorithms of how we'll determine the 8th seed. moments away from the first pitch between the Danbury Hatters, who come in 7-6, 4-5 on the season. They are a half game back of 8th place. And the Stanford Black Knights, 5-7, 3-5. They are a game back. Here at Stanford High, a great matchup between two of the more pristine programs in the state. As this one way back to right field, and it is gone. Rodriguez gave it a look, but it carried long enough with the wind, and it is 1-0. Noah Meeks doing himself a favor at the dish.
What a great job there by Noah Meeks.
This time he comes to the dish, though. Breaking ball hit out to left field. Charging there, but not going to catch that one is MacArthur. He comes up throwing, but it is cut off, and now the ball is passed to the backstop. Fired out to third, but in there safely. Heads up running by Papp. Better hitting by Weirs. The Black Knights are on the board. Here's the payoff pitch. Grounded up the middle. Fielding there is Birkin. He will fire over to first, and the inning is over.
A good base running. He gets back to third, but great opportunity here for the Black Knights.
As this one grounded up the middle. A diving stop and coming home is Javon Hernandez, and they are out at the plate.
Wow, what a play by Javon. Dives to his right, gets back up, fires home. What a big-time play.
Papp says otherwise, though, as he pokes one out towards right center field. It's down in the gap. One run will score, heading to third, and in there safely is Kites. It's an RBI single for the senior. As this one sent out to left center field, coming over and diving to make the catch. No, he did not catch it. Jacobellis trapped that one. So another run scores. Papp moves to second.
That's scary.
As this one is lined out to right center field, will it drop? No, on the run and making the catch was Kenny Martinez. How about that play? In the sixth, he has a stolen base as well. As this one is flied out to center field, Collazo camps under it, makes the catch, and the ball game is over. It is a complete game win for Beldotti. Eric, you had a couple of comments on Lucas Beldotti's performance that you wanted to mention.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kevin mentioned it during the broadcast yesterday. He kind of pulled a Verlander yesterday and got stronger as the game went on. And, just the zip on that fastball got a little more life. His breaking ball got a little more life. It was really impressive. And we talk about that getting shelled in that Darien game. Really you think about it, that he's a meatball of a curveball and a blown opportunity with the bases loaded, one out away from getting a win out of that game. I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I think he has been a very solid 2 underneath Brad Papp in that rotation, and I think as he continues to figure things out and seems like he's getting stronger as the season goes on, that's going to be very important for the Black Knights to have that strong number 2 after Papp, who's been lights out for the Black Knights.
And Papp had the huge 3-0 shutout against St. Joe's last Friday. Do you think that he gets the late game zip on his fastball by relying heavily on the breaking balls early in the game, and he's saving his arm almost so that in that third, fourth, fifth inning, he's still able to find that next gear?
It's certainly that's a possibility. I think the breaking ball needs a little bit of work because if you look at it now, that breaking ball again was crushed. And this time by Noah Meeks, the pitcher of Danbury. He hit a home run. If you really think about it, look through his swing. He didn't really swing all the way through it, but that ball somehow went over the right field fence for a home run. But again, there was that breaking ball. I think he's leaving it up a little too high and letting it hang over too much in the strike zone that hitters are just, when it comes into the zone, their eyes open. You look back. Last week, Casey Brown, there was that home run, that grand slam he hit. He threw a breaking ball in there, a meatball, and Casey Brown is going to hit that every time. So the fastball certainly did get stronger as the game went on, like a Verlander-ish. But, man, what a performance Beldotti had. He needed this performance to really boost his confidence as we get closer to the playoffs.
Eric, you've got Staples on Wednesday, Ward on Friday. Which game do you throw Papp in?
I definitely think Friday. I mean, Staples is much higher in the standings for you. I think you just do your best and maybe you get things to break your way, get a few bounces to go your way in the field. But I think you really got to focus on your nearest opponent in the standings, which is Ward, and get that tiebreaker and throw your ace in that game. It would be nice to beat Staples. It would be nice to knock off a team that's in the top third of those standings. But, really the most important win for them this week has to be against Ward, and you got to throw Pap in that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're 2.5 games behind of Staples, so they'd still have to make up a game and a half even with the win. Should it come down to a tiebreaker situation. They're a game and a half. Well, they're 2 games behind Norwalk, who they've also got remaining on the schedule. West Hill, who they're 3.5 back. They have games they can make up grounding, Kev, and you've got Central, Wilton, and Trinity remaining, which they should be looking at as wins, or at least must-wins in their eyes. Either way, Stanford put themselves into a great position yesterday with that win over Danbury.
Yeah, it was a huge win. I agree with Eric. I think you got to throw your ace in there. You look right there. Ludlow, Stanford, Trumbull, and Ward. That game against Ward, Stanford-Ward next Friday, you got to throw a Pap in there. I mean, how great would it be? Yes, if they get a win against Staples, that's huge. If they don't, that's okay. But as long as you beat out Ward and you put Ward down even farther and you beat them, that just makes your chances of getting the playoffs even better. So I think, throw Pap in there against Ward. That's a team you're fighting for that final spot with. It'd be so sweet to get a win against them, see them go down, and your stock rise.
Other scores from around the conference yesterday: Ludlow 10-3 over Central, Darien 12-1 past Ward, New Canaan shutting out Norwalk 1-0, great game there. West Hill 8-6 over Staples, Richfield comes back and takes down Wilton 2-1. Trumbull 5-1 over Greenwich, and McMahon shutting out Trinity Catholic 6-0. Let's take one more quick break. When we get back, we're going to be a preview of this afternoon's game, Wilton and St. Joe's. That's coming up on the HAN Network at 4:30. More Nutmeg after this.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
It's the InSports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports, getting ready to hit the road. We're heading for St. Joe's, home of the Cadets. They host the Wilton Warriors in boys lacrosse this afternoon. Kevin, we got a couple of moments here. Quick couple of thoughts on this afternoon's game coming up.
I think this is a big game for Wilton. Going on the road, they've had some pretty big wins. They actually played New Canaan really well earlier on in the season, ended up losing 9-8. They beat Greenwich. This is a big overtime win for them a week ago. This is a Wilton team that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about. This is a big win. This is a big game for them on the road. But for St. Joe's, they need a big statement win after Wilton beat them last year at Wilton 17-9. I think St. Joe's needs to stay grounded, stay confident, and get a win at home today. That'll be a big statement win for them and a jump up in the standings.
Eric, very quickly, St. Joe's has come in losers of 5 straight. How did they fare today?
I mean, this is very similar to the baseball game we saw yesterday. I mean, this is a huge game for the standings for the rest of the season. I mean, if St. Joe's can pull out a win, that really catapults them for the rest of the season and possibly getting that final 7th, 8th spot in that tournament. And for Wilton, it's just about taking care of business. St. Joe's really has to bring their A game today. Wilton is one of those teams that wants to prove themselves and has the history and wants to get back into this race and put themselves in a good position to, well, let's say avoid playing Darien too soon. But I think that they could potentially compete. I mean, I'm very interested in seeing both of these teams and seeing where they sit comparatively to what we've seen so far.
Wilton is currently sitting 5th in the conference. They want to stay in that 4 or 5 spot. They can surpass Ridgefield. They can surpass Greenwich, but they need some help along the way. New Canaan holds a tiebreaker over the Warriors. Face-off is at 4:30. We will be on the air at 4:25 from St. Joe's. For Eric Gender and Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We thank you for watching Nutmeg Sports. We'll see you this afternoon and back here tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Coffee break with Kate Chaplensky.